You try to come to terms with that you can't see your grandkids, their faces, you can't see your daughter, you can't do the majority of stuff that you used to do, take for granted.
Basically, I'd given up. I couldn't drive anymore, therefore I couldn't work. I'd stopped going out to meet people.
When she was 6 weeks old, I knew there was something majorly wrong with her. She wasn't giving any eye contact, that she wasn't smiling. She just seemed to be motionless for the first 6 weeks.
They told me I got this macular degeneration and there was nothing they can do about it.
Every day, one person in the UK loses their sight. For 100 years, CamSight has been here to help.
Welcome to CamSight. CamSight is a local charity supporting blind and partially sighted people throughout Cambridgeshire. This is our building here in Cambridge, and 18 members of staff work here with 300 wonderful volunteers to support visually impaired people in the range of support and services that we'll hear about in a moment.
In 1912, two ladies from well-known Cambridge families were inspired by a blind friend to organise the first meeting for local blind people to offer support and recreation. Later, Anna Lilly and Lillian Stace opened a blind workers' shop and then hired a home teacher for blind people. For many decades, the charity ran a residential home called Blantyre House. It closed in 1992, and CamSight now works across the whole county from these premises in Chesterton.
I think the emotional support groups are particularly important because it's a gathering where people share their concerns and share their worries, share their anger, share their disappointments, everything, all the emotions that people feel that they can't really talk about in the family or amongst close friends.
I'm coping quite well, but the moment somebody asks me how I'm actually feeling and how I'm dealing with it, then my reaction 8 weeks ago is basically just tears. So there's been a big change in 8 weeks of emotional support.
If you have that problem one day, you want to talk to someone, then you can just pick the phone up, talk to someone. So yeah, definitely coming here has helped a lot.
I wanted to feel that I'm still capable of doing a job, whatever it is. So I've come over to CamSight to work in the office, to answer the telephones, to do a bit on the computers, and they've been magnificent in helping me try and find a niche that possibly I might be able to go back to work.
It's really important to me because I felt that I always say CamSight saved me from the darkest point and lifted me back up, and I was able to use the skills that I already have from working with people, and to really, really desperately wanted to give something back.
We have over 300 volunteers, and they help in various ways with sports. They help with our rural support groups. They help with befriending. They help with anything really. We get a referral and then we look for a volunteer to fulfil that role.
Across Cambridgeshire, in towns and villages, staff and volunteers organise activities and groups.
We do have some people here who wouldn't get out at all. We have others who didn't want to go out, but and we've seen such a big change in them coming in. Some we have to offer transport for. Some of our clients bring in other people. So it is a very supportive group. The range varies from people who just have sight problems up to those who've been registered as sight impaired or severely sight impaired. They come here really for support, and we find that actually often they come thinking they're not going to be able to give anything themselves, but that soon quickly goes because everybody needs support from each other.
You don't feel so isolated if you've got someone else to talk to about your complaint. Yes, I enjoy it very, very much.
We come from March, And, you know, it's a nice little car ride, and it's not often we get out with car rides. We haven't got a car.
So I've never been one for mixing, but I'm so pleased that I come down here, you know. But it took a lot of doing to come down here.
Mrs. Freeman, you know, you wanted the talking clock that you asked for. I've got two types. One is this one here.
Yeah.
Can you see the little bump on
Yes,
there?
I can.
Yeah. One tells you the time, the other one tells you the date.
Yeah.
Do you want to try it? Just press the button and see.
That one hasn't got a button.
Yeah. So the one with the button.
Tuesday,
Oh,
6th of December, 2011.
And that
1:28 p.m.
Well, that's very, very good. Very helpful. That. They've told me all about these various appliances that I can have. My telephone, the large letter one's very good, and also the lamp that I have there for reading, and the speaking clock, and this gadget for when you pour your tea out, it tells you to stop, and then put the milk in, it tells you to stop again.
A young student has different needs. Technology to scan his study texts and read the words out loud.
It's incredibly vital, yeah, especially for someone like myself who's recently lost their eyesight. I haven't really had enough time to get to grips with Braille and things like that, which I guess people would have used before all this new equipment came out. So people who don't really know Braille, for people like that, this new equipment is vital, yeah.
Gives parents a place to come with their children that they feel safe in. There's lots of other groups out there for for children with learning disabilities and other sensory needs, but there's actually no group for children who have a visual impairment. So a lot of our children have both vision impairment and a learning disability, but the other groups that they go to work just on the learning disability rather than the visual impairment. So we give them another access to meet people really who are going through similar things.
I think going to other baby groups is quite isolating because you feel that you're different and that Jacob is different, and he's not. He's very special, and I'm going to cry now. And somewhere like this is fantastic because you don't feel different and you feel supported, and there are people that you can really talk to.
I can just about see where the ball is going, but I can't see the pins anymore, but you know, so yeah, it's just great fun, really.
Mingling with people, making new friends. I've been in 4 finals and won 1, so it's a good achievement. I've been playing for 5 years.
CamSight also organises gardening sessions, guided walks, swimming, cooking and much more. But there's a new world to reckon with. Already CamSight is one of the best resource centres in the country with nearly 1,000 pieces of equipment. It also has a unique computer trainer who is himself totally blind.
For example, in the past week we had one lady who's 85 who needed to use some magnification software. A younger man in his mid-40s, he was using a Braille input device, a very small PDA system. And then a younger person as well, probably mid-20s, who was using screen reading software. That person has no sight at all.
We can offer visually impaired people so much more than we do at the moment. New things coming on stream are just amazing. Voice activated equipment, GPS that enable people to move about freely and to travel, scanners so people can study, they can work, get high powered, all sorts of things, or just live at home, care for loved ones, do the internet shopping, all these fantastic things. But people don't know about them. They don't realise that actually anybody can use these things.
That's going to cost money. It needs not a new building, but it does need refurbishment. complete revamp of the ground floor, and it also needs us to be able to purchase a certain amount more of computer equipment.
The plan is to create a new reception area at the front of the building and to clear out all the small rooms and corridors to create a superb new resource centre fit for the 21st century, where visitors can browse, choose and train on the very latest technology.
Well, I don't know of anyone who's doing something quite like this, and with all the wonderful partners and people we have working around us, I know we can make this really special, real tribute to people in the future for the next 100 years.
1/3 of those aged 90 have serious sight loss. 2/5 of those alive now will live to be 90.
I learnt to touch type through CamSight, learned to use screen reading software through CamSight. I learnt grade 1 Braille through CamSight. They even raised the funds to get a tandem, which they loaned to me, because I used to love cycling and things like that. So they've really helped me get my independence back.
Very, very important, because I had already told myself and my husband that I would need to go into care, because I wouldn't be able to do anything.
They will help me anytime, even sometimes morning, afternoon, evening also, anytime they will help us.
Oh, they're absolutely terrific. And I think we're very lucky in Cambridge to have such a good charity sort of backing us up and making life very much easier.